What if I told you that one of the most horrifying discoveries in true crime history happened in this quiet neighborhood? This is not fiction. This is the story of the Icebox Murders. Was the evening of June 23, 1965. Marvin Ivor was used to hearing from his Aunt Edwina several times a week, so when she stopped answering or returning his calls, he began to worry. After 3 uneasy days, Marvin called local police, requesting a welfare check. It was a quiet evening, so Station Captain Charles Bullock answered the call himself, along with his partner. When they pulled up to 1815 Driscoll Street, the house was quiet, and nothing seemed out of place. Bullock and Barta expected it to be a quick, routine visit. The visit would be anything but routine. Bullock and Barta knocked on the door, but no one answered, so they started walking around the house, looking in the windows for any signs of a disturbance. Seeing nothing, they decided to force entry into the house, so they tried the back door. It wouldn't budge, despite being unlocked. And on taking a closer look, the officers quickly realized why. The back door was blocked on the inside by a towering stack of flower pots that were placed against it. It was the first inkling the officers had that something was just not right. They quickly found another way in. The house, when they entered it, was clean and well-ordered, but it was also quiet and empty. Bullock later recalled that despite the lack of any obvious signs of trouble, he had a strange feeling that he couldn't shake. He sent Barta upstairs to check the bedrooms, while he went through the rooms downstairs. As he passed the dining room, he noticed that there was food on the table, and it was set for 2 places. The kitchen, however, was clean and empty. Barta came downstairs, having seen nothing alarming either. The officers decided to leave. Bullock's instincts were nagging at him. Almost on a whim, he decided to open the refrigerator. Inside, to his surprise, he found row upon row of cut, packaged meat, all neatly wrapped up. What struck him and Barta as unusual was the sheer amount of meat. It was far too much for any couple to eat. It would definitely spoil before they could get to it. Still, Bullock figured it was hog meat and started to close the door. As he did so, his eyes fell to the vegetable crisper bin. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. In the vegetable crisper, through the clear plastic bin, Bullock saw a woman's severed head. His first instinct was to slam the door shut, but just as quickly, he opened it up again, his eyes going straight to the crisper drawer. He had been right. It was a woman's head, but it was worse than he had first thought. Sitting neatly in the drawer next to it was a man's decapitated head. Bullock was looking at the remains of Fred and Edwina Rogers, the elderly homeowners. Officers conducted another sweep of the house, checking carefully this time for any signs of blood. The house had obviously been thoroughly cleaned, but they found a tiny amount of blood in the upstairs bathroom. Investigators later determined that this was where the couple had been dismembered, although they had most likely been murdered downstairs, probably as they were sitting down to a meal. A small, barely noticeable trail of blood led from the bathroom to one of the bedrooms, ending with a few spots of blood on the floor near the bedroom door. Officers looked inside. The bedroom belonged to Charles Rogers, Fred and Edwina's reclusive son. It was empty except for one thing, a keyhole saw that showed obvious traces of blood. It was becoming clear to police that Charles was, at the very least, a person of interest in what was now a double homicide case. Investigators combed the house, looking for further evidence. They later discovered the flushed, chopped-up organs of the old couple in the neighborhood sewer system. Despite extensive searching, not all of the couple's remains were found, but investigators had recovered enough to reconstruct the stomach-turning crimes. It was a grisly scene, shocking even the most seasoned officers who descended on the house. Forensics experts quickly determined that the piles of meat in the fridge were actually the meticulously dismembered bodies of Fred and Edwina. Edwina's head showed clear evidence of her cause of death, which was a single gunshot. She was also beaten, but Fred definitely suffered more before his death. His head shows signs of severe trauma, with investigators later determining that he was bludgeoned to death with a claw hammer. Even more gruesome, Fred's eyes were ripped out and his organs were missing. But who could commit such a heinous act? The answer lay within the walls of their own home. Charles Rogers, the couple's reclusive son, quickly became the prime suspect. A former Navy pilot and geophysicist, Charles was known for his brilliance and his secretive nature. He lived with his parents, but their communication was limited to cryptic notes slid under the door. When police searched his room, they found it spotless, almost as if he had meticulously planned his departure. Rogers was a genius, getting a degree in nuclear physics and becoming a successful seismologist for Shell for 9 years until he suddenly quit without reason in 1957 to join the Civil Air Patrol. A nationwide manhunt was launched, but Charles had vanished without a trace. His abandoned car was found, but his whereabouts remained a mystery. Some theories suggest that Charles Rogers was involved with the CIA. He was a geophysicist and had served in the Navy, which fueled speculations that he had intelligence connections. This theory posits that Rogers may have been involved in covert activities, and his parents' murder was linked to his espionage work. Related to the CIA theory, another angle is that the Rogers murder was a government-ordered hit. Some believe that Fred and Edwina Rogers knew too much about Charles's alleged activities, leading to their elimination. Some conspiracy theories also propose that Charles Rogers escaped to South America after the murders. This theory suggests he lived out his life under an assumed identity, possibly with the help of powerful connections. Despite these theories, the true motives and details of the Icebox murders remain a mystery, and Charles Rogers was never found to answer for the crime. The case continues to intrigue and baffle both amateur sleuths and professional investigators. Charles Rogers is still the prime suspect, but the lack of concrete evidence leaves many questions unanswered. The Icebox murders continue to intrigue and terrify true crime enthusiasts, a chilling reminder of how some mysteries refuse to be unraveled. Over the years, numerous theories have been floated as to why Charles Rogers murdered his parents and how he managed to disappear so completely. Official investigators and amateur crime buffs generally agree that Charles must have fled to Central America, where he had long-standing ties to local mining interests. However, rumors have long circulated that the story is more complicated than a simple family murder. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of the unexplained and the macabre. And remember, sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that are true. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.